Hi guys, this is Dr. Aeronautics. Welcome to I believe this is the 5th Delta Glider 4 tutorial. And we're going to do all of the other checklists that we haven't done before. And then after that, I think we're going to fly to the moon next episode. And then the episode after to Mars. And then by that time, our Norsden Land Tuniso series should be getting into space, and then I'm going to try and merge the two so that the tutorials would be us in Norsden Land learning how to operate in space. So we're going to have lots of fun with that in orbiter, but for now we're going to do some checklists. So the very first one that we're going to do is actually up here, and then we're going to go to another craft on the ground. But we're going to do checklist 8, docked refueling. So next thing we need to do is check. I don't think there's a vessel state for... No, there's not one for refueling. So we want to check that our vessel's docked, and it is because we have the green light up here. Lower panel, fuel hatch open. And that nasty truck doesn't come up because... actually, you know what? I vaguely remember us doing the refueling checklist on the ground, so I'll have to check on that. If that's the case, then I would suggest... seeing episode 1 that would have been in. But anyway, wait for pressure on the input valve, which we have. Oh, well, first we need to actually lose some fuel for us to be able to fill up. So I'm going to do a little fuel dump so that we can see us actually accumulating propellant. There we go. Okay, now continuing with the checklist. Dock input valve open. Check. So now the fuel comes to here. And now fuel selector, main or RCS. So if we go to main, now our main fuel tank is filling. If we go to RCS, now our RCS fuel tank is filling. And now that's filled up. So then we go to main. That's filled up, and we go back to off. So when fueling completed, fuel selector off, we just did that. Dock input valve close. Done. Fuel hatch close, done. And that's the end of the docked refueling checklist. Now we could proceed with either powering down or undocking, or doing nothing. So I'm going to check on the status of that other tutorial, and I will let you know what I find out. Okay, yeah, so I've actually done it before, but that's okay. We'll do it again. It literally just takes 30 seconds to do. Okay, so now we're in a different ship now on the ground, and now we're going to proceed with the ground refueling checklist. So, vessel stopped. Let's check that 0 speed. That's the wrong... There we go. Okay, we're stopped. And this is also... There we go. Now you can see it, actually. Fuel hatch open, and wait for the noisy, nasty fuel truck. So I'm going to turn this down so it doesn't blow your ears out. Wait for pressure on input valve. Just heard it, so we have pressure. And now what we're going to do is EPU input valve open. That's selected. And now we select main or RCS. Right now we only have the main tank to fill, so we do the same thing. Okay, we've filled up now. So, when fueling completed, fuel selector off, done. EPU input valve, close. Fuel hatch, close. And the truck is pulled away. And now it says wait for the truck to leave before takeoff. I wonder if you hear an explosion sound if you just gun it like before it gets fully away. Like if you actually like run it over and you just hear it go. That would be actually pretty funny because I hate how noisy it is. It's very annoying. Okay, and that was ground refueling. So we're actually making really good progress. The next thing we're going to do is power off cockpit. So now what we're going to do is all engine cutoff. I'm not exactly sure what that means other than don't thrust. And then we go through the valves. Hover, auto air intake, main fuel, RCS, fuel dump and cross feed off. Fuel selector is off. Both input valves are off. Fuel hatch is closed. Life support panel, input valve pressure is off. Hey, yeah, why isn't that actually a checklist? Okay, I'm going to show you how to fill the reservoir real quick. All you have to do is open the valve to external, which we're just pulling in from the atmosphere. All it is a fan, and it will suck the air in from the atmosphere, and then we just fill. Tank B is full, so we go to A, pop. Just filled, and we're actually maintaining right now, so it won't. So we can keep this way forever. But valve pressure off, selector system off, and before I turn the main and backup system off, I'm going to open up the airlock, because if we turn it off without opening up the airlock, we're going to kill ourselves, because we're just going to seal ourselves in a pressure tight room without any oxygen. Let's check on this. There it is. Make sure the CO2 part per million goes down. Now we're good. So now main and backup system off. Done. O2 and N2AB system off. Done. And now we want to do comp CNT and comp lock, which is done. And open, yeah, that should actually be beforehand, because we would have been hurting ourselves. Running out of oxygen. Gear hydraulic pressure off. Seatbelts off. Strobes off. Okay, and where are we now? All power off. Okay, so this is where I'm picky about how I shut things down. I'm going to start with the MFDs, putting them back to orbit, which I'm just picky about. Do this exact same procedure all the time. They do this in real life with spacecraft, even though it has no condition to do with... Wait a minute. How much power does the... Oh, right. We've turned the life support system practically off. No problem. Turn the radio off. We are done with the airlock, so that off. And now, before I mess with the lower panel, this is where I diverge from the checklist. And now we have to turn everything else off. So I'm going to safe ejection seats, turn the Windows filter off. I guess we could have also opened the cockpit canopy as well. That would open an extra area as well. Cargo bay and payload door, since we're outside, I'm going to go ahead and close that. By the way, there is a old fuel tank in here. Not as good as the modern day universal cargo. And by the way, I don't think I've gotten into this much detail. Maybe I'll do a mod spotlight on it. But UGCO is basically comes with UMMUs, which you can actually pilot. So basically, imagine you can now walk first person in orbiter. And like if I want to change crafts instead of cheating like I did earlier, I could do an egress and then physically walk over here like I was in Minecraft, and then ingress inside. In fact, when I do that, we're going to build models of this in Norsden Land Tuniso, and we're gonna, when we egress, then we'll be in Minecraft, and then we'll physically walk over, and then we'll ingress again, which will be pretty fun, I hope, for you guys. Valves off. And we look good. So engine power off, life pack power off. Shut the main bus down, and now the computer. So we're fully powered down now. So we want to do generator bus off. How do you do? I don't even know how you do generator bus off. What is that supposed to mean? Maybe EP. Okay, let's activate the EPU because we're going to lose power anyway. Okay, generator 1 and 2 off. Weight 0 volt. Done. APU off. Battery is off. And EPU is on. So this is the fully powered down version of the craft. We're drawing like no power other than what we need for the checklist, which is, I think, is kind of dumb, but well, you gotta read it. So yeah, we're fully powered down. We could sit like this for an eternity because we are connected in with the EPU. So everything in that respect is all right. And wow, there's actually no sound difference between inside and outside because I have all the external systems open. So what's left that we can do? Oh, well, we've just done the power off cockpit, duh. So now we have emergency power operation. So let's actually do that next. Ideally, you wouldn't want to do this, but let's say that we lose EPU and all power systems fail. So now we're actually physically using no power. We're basically dead in the water. So now, if we didn't have any sort of APU, if the APU fails for some reason, we can open the emergency power cover, like that. And we have an emergency fuel cell that we can start. Emergency power bus on. So now you just heard the emergency power power up, and now we want to select emergency power on the bus. And now we have some power. However, we don't have battery charge. The emergency bus and the emergency fuel cell is a limp home system. It's not designed for nominal operation. This would be like Apollo 13, where you have to go to the lunar module to use it as a lifeboat. That's basically what we're doing. The mission would be canceled, and we would have done a full abort and tried to get back to the Earth by now, or into the atmosphere if we're already at Earth. So we want to acknowledge all error. I guess that's what they mean by error, emergency power engaged. We can also power up the HUD and see if we can see... No, it would be here. Never mind. I'm thinking XR2. And now it says restart only the vital systems. Remember, I told you this is limp home. So in the case of this, it would be life pack, computer, and main bus can actually stay powered down. Airlock can stay powered down. Again, this is like the Apollo 13 thing. You just shut down as many things as you can, and we shouldn't even need the engine, because I don't even think they had the engine systems powered up on Apollo, nominally even. So now we'll set the systems to auto, and that is the configuration. Of course, if we really wanted to be mean to our crew, we could start messing with the set parameters. Like, for example, we could start setting the temperature lower and say, hey, guess what? You're going to freeze at 10 degrees Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not that bad. Apollo dealt with 15 degrees. That's actually not that bad. You can also consult the graph. There it is. Can't read today. and lower the oxygen percentile, and you can actually get closer to hypoxia. But you can also save more oxygen longer, and you can also save on nitrogen and depressurize the cockpit down to about here, and that would be the ultimate low power state. But you have to be careful, because the closer you get to 100% oxygen, the more dangerous you're going to approach a catastrophe because of fire or explosion. So that's done. Yeah, life pack and main bus. That's basically what I just did. And then you do D4, which is the electrical system. You want to monitor that at all times. And you want to keep an eye on the duration of the emergency power cell, because I said this is a limp home thing. So if we're in deep space, we're basically screwed. Or SOL, depending on your language. Yeah, you want to manage the system on and off so you have enough power. Oh, that's interesting. So you can actually cycle it on and off and say, no, we don't want power now. Okay, we want power now. So we can actually depower the... if that's the actual case, then we'd actually want to power down the computer as well, because that will give us more time. And then you just power it up and down, given the systems. So that's emergency power. Thankfully enough, we're actually not on emergency power, so we can go ahead and put ourselves off of emergency power. Oh, it seems that... Oh, well, hang on. Just double-click those to acknowledge those breakers. And it looks like once we start emergency power, we can't stop it. Because for some reason I can't seem to close it. It's kind of weird. I think that's kind of dumb. You should... Wait a minute. Cycling... So we can't cycle it? Okay, now that's making confused. I've never used emergency power before because I've been always careful. But seriously, why can't I emergency power down? Okay, well, at least it says not in use, so... Hopefully that means it's not going to power down. So now you've seen emergency power operation. So now we can do flight computer operation, which is just a operation menu. Oh shoot, we need to acknowledge these as well. That's a breaker fail when the light goes orange red like that. Whoops, here it is. So about the flight computer, I'm not sure if I've ever told you about how to use it, but basically it's powered by the computer bus, which is right here under the system power. And so we can actually reboot the computer with Pro, so P, whoops, what did I do? Hang on. Okay. So apparently, if you're lazy, you can press the left bracket key and go into that mode. Okay, so Pro 9999, enter, and that will actually reboot the computer. So if obviously the program is running, you must clear it first by pressing C or the clear button here. And you can also turn the power off and back on. So there you go. So now we have the ability to do system displays. So you can press D for display, or press this, and now you can enter a number. Like, for example, if we wanted to see the temperatures, then we can go to 3, and that chooses a display. And then for running a program, you could do Pro 200 Spec 0, and that will run the autopilot for prograde. I'm sorry, kill rotation. There you go. Enter, and now if you do execute, it would run, except for the fact that we're on the ground, so it recognizes that our rotation has already been killed. So it'll automatically go off. But in the case it didn't, you would press stop to suspend it and clear to unload it. So if a program is loaded, like for example, let's do it again, Pro 200 Spec 0, load that, and we start trying to mess around with it, we can't. So that's obvious. But you can still use display. So we can, access these, for example. And then, oh my gosh, I did actually not know they have all of the, wow, I don't even have to consult the manual. They have every autopilot in here. So here's the autopilots for RCS hold. Here's the atmospheric docking. There's hover holds. There's hover hold speeds. We can actually set the speed that we hover at for a soft landing. 0. Wow, I did not know there was a null relative speed autopilot. That's crazy. I can actually do on a nearly fully autonomous mission. So we wouldn't actually have to do anything. We could just fly on computer only. That's rather interesting. Here's Pro 104. This is for manual reentry, and for automatic reentry, Pro 105 Spec 40, which we did last time. And then there's also Ascend autopilots. There's Earth normal. There's Earth hover, and then there's Moon and Mars hover. And I forget if you can actually create autopilots with programming. I forget whether or not you can do that. But if you can, then you're basically unlimited. NN for launch heading. Okay, so that's just a program on if you want to give it an azimuth to go to. And that's an example of how to use it. And then, wow, there's even calculations in here that we've done before. Like, for example, your latitude cosine M1. What does M1 stand for again? Desired inclination over cosine MR1, enter a sine. What is? Okay, let's try that. Let's go to let's see what this does. I'm actually curious. I've never done this before. So go to calculator. Your latitude, 27 degrees. Cosine MR1. Enter. What does that do? Maybe we have to... okay, let's try it again. Your latitude, this is that. Okay, maybe it's times cosine MR1. Enter. That doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, let's try your desired inclination. 40. Cosine... No. Wait a minute. 40 cosine divided by MR1. Enter. Your latitude can be found in surface MFD. Desired inclination can be found in orbit MFD. Target parameter. Projection equatorial. Oops. We're sidetracking by quite a bit, by the way. I'm going to have to figure out how to use this because this is going to be, if I can figure out how to use this and it actually works, that's going to be interesting. Maybe they have it for reentry as well. Inverse flight logic. Now, will it actually tell me how far away I should do the reentry burn? No, it won't, so that's not helpful. About some, wow, it has descriptions of almost every autopilot here. So hold speed, docking, all that jazz. So there is flight computer operation. 13 is flight computer keyboard key. So basically you can use your real keyboard like I normally do, or you can use these keyboards here. Here's all the keyboard commands, and that's basically the end of the checklist. So that's that. 15 is the vessel limitations, so I'll just run through those really quick. So obviously values not to exceed. Maximum landing gear speeds. If you exceed the speed limit on landing, your ship will explode. No matter what. I don't care if you touch down at, or it doesn't care if you touch down at 0.0001 vertical meters per second. It will explode. I can guarantee you this. I've done the softest landing that you can possibly do, and boom, it explodes. Same thing with this. And maximum landing weight. If you land 1 pound over this, your ship will explode for no reason. And then you obviously have to mind the door speeds and due to dynamic pressures. Here's the maximum temperatures we can withstand. And if any door is open, it's automatically 350 C. And if the cockpit door is open, God forbid, 150 C. But I don't think 300 degrees on this on these plastic switches are good. So I would not dare do that. And then obviously bottom hull temperature is not displayed in the D3 display. Oh wow. It's about 110% of the nose temperature. Wait a minute. The nose temperature I thought was supposed to be the highest. Oh my gosh, it is. So we can actually over temperature. Oh my gosh, yeah. See, if the nose then is 2200, then the this can be 2220, and then we would have exploded. So wow, need to remember that for the future because that's important. Okay, so here's the very last thing. I've done this before, but here we go again. To jet crew, they must wear spacesuits. So seatbelt on, they're wearing spacesuits. We have ejection seat to armed. So now all we have to do is press the ejection seat, or we should be able to yank this cord.
Eject.
There we go. So now we've just ejected from the craft, and we'd have to... I have to figure out if you actually have to reload this, or if you can actually... if you can actually just do this with oh yeah, and there's some junk under there from ejecting. I forget if whether or not you can if you can fix the craft up, or if you actually have to reload it. I'm hoping that you can just fix it up, because in real life, I mean, this wouldn't... Never mind, because if you eject in real life, it's generally because you're about to die. Unless you want to just check, in which case, yeah, we should be able to put the panels back in. So there you go. That is basically everything you need to know about the operation of the Delta Glider 4, and the rest of it is not pertaining to the Delta Glider 4, but more about its personality of how you handle it during missions, like, for example, going to the moon. It's a little bit different than the XR2, because the XR2 has, for example, scramjets, and it has different autopilots and a whole bunch of other things. It's just used differently. So I thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Hopefully it wasn't too long. And you now have all the information that you need about how to fly this craft, and look forward to my next tutorial on going to the moon on the Delta Glider 4. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.